Today is our annual Veterans Day Assembly. This assembly allows us to celebrate and honor the great men and women who served and protected our country. We thank you for our freedoms and we thank you for your service. Now I'd like to introduce Ms. Riley Kane.
Today is the day we honor the noble and the brave, the men and women who dedicated their lives and the sacrifices that they have made. When America had an urgent need, they were the first to raise their hand. Without thinking twice about it, they were proud to take a stand. Some came back from war with battle scars, others in flag-draped coffins. Even though their flesh may have left, their spirits will never be forgotten. They unselfishly and knowingly put their lives on the line. So when you see a veteran, thank them, because without them, freedom would have died.
Mr. Dane Cope will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. You may be seated. We'd like to thank Lafayette's ROTC and Sergeant Rivera. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Brogdon.
Veterans Day started at the beginning of World War I, at the end of World War I. World War I ran from 1914 to 1918. At the end of World War I, so many people died, over 5.5 million, it was decided that we were going to have a holiday in remembrance of the people that served our country. World War I ended on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. What we do now is on this day, we honor those that have served on Veterans Day, not those that have given their lives. Those that have given their lives, we honor those on Memorial Day. As you see a veteran, as you see the people up there here in front of us, these 16 people over here in front of us, there is an etiquette involved with those in the service. One of the things you do not do is go up to a veteran and say, hey, did you kill anybody? Did you shoot anybody? That is not considered proper etiquette. Instead, you should simply go to that person and say, thank you for your service. That person has given up time away from home. They've given up opportunity to make money for their families, time away from their families and holidays. We are now going to honor these veterans. We're going to call them out one at a time. And if you would, please listen to them each a brief round of applause. We're going to start with our own Mr. Lonnie Coyle. Air Force for 4 years. He had 5 brothers and sisters that also served in the service. Thank you, Mr. Coyle, for your service. Mr. Tom Larkin. Corporal Tom Larkin served in the United States Marine Corps for 6 years. Mr. Larkin, thank you for your service. Mr. Willie Simmons. Specialist Willie Simmons served in the United States Army for a period of 5 years. Thank you for your service, Mr. Simmons. Mr. Rick Brown. Sergeant Rick Brown served in the United States Army for a period of 6 years. Thank you for your service. Gary Kretzer, Sr. Specialist Gary Kretzer, Sr. served in the United States Army for 6 years. Thank you, sir, for your service. Mr. Alan Carthigan. Second class Alan Carthigan served in the United States Navy for a period of 4 years. Thank you, sir, for your service. Gary Kretzer, Jr. Gary Kretzer, Jr. served in the United States Air Force for a period of 8 years. Thank you, sir, for your service. Jim Hickok. Master Sergeant Jim Hickok served in the United States Air Force for 36 years. Master Sergeant Gary Geyer served the United States Air Force for 21 years. Doug Sider. Thomas Doug Sider served in the United States Navy for a period of 4 years. Thank you for your service, sir. Carl Thomas. Sergeant Carl Thomas served in the United States Army for a period of 4 years. Thank you for your service, sir. Mr. Les Beatty. Petty Officer Les Beatty served in the United States Navy for 4 years. Thank you for your service, sir. Jim Ellison. Corporal Jim Ellison served in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years. Thank you for your service, sir. Mr. Larry Cope. Private First Class Larry Cope served in the United States Army for 5 years. Thank you for your service, sir. Michelle Martin. Corporal Michelle Martin served in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years. Man, thank you for your service. As you leave, you can again go to these veterans, say thank you. It's a huge sacrifice of time and commitment. Again, we thank you all for your service. We want to honor Mr. Rivera. Mr. Rivera. I thought he was going to sneak out on us. Mr. Rivera was in the United States Army for 21 years.
Good morning. Good morning. I've been asked to share a little bit of my personal history also. My father served in the Marine Corps during World War II in the South Pacific Theater. And when he came home and the Army Air Corps broke off to become the Air Force, my father then went into the Air Force and served 28 more years with the Air Force and retired from that service. During that time, I lived on a Strategic Air Command missile base. And at that time, we were going through the Cuban crisis. During that time, I was able to see the effect on my father as he came home after a week of defending what we believed would be a serious situation in our country. He came home haggard, and I had never seen him with stubble, and he came home worn out and very serious. And during that time, I also experienced things such as evacuation trucks at the end of the street to evacuate us if needed. Also, at that time, there were trucks protecting the airline fuel tanks across the street and down the hill. We also, during that time, observed blackout situations. And it was a very serious time, and I was able to see how the men and women of our country defend us at a moment's notice. That left a lasting impression on me, as well as my father's dedication to this country and the dedication of my mother. I'd like to share a couple of things with you at this time. These are quotes from Dwight D. Eisenhower, a general and a president of the United States who served during World War II. Dwight D. Eisenhower said, "Let no one be discouraged by the belief that there is nothing one person can do against the enormous array of the world's ills, misery, ignorance, and violence. Few will have the greatness to bend history. but each of us can work to change a small portion of events. And in the total of all those acts will be written the history of a generation. And that is the service of these men and women. Each time a man stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. That is the hope that our veterans and service members give us. The building of such a peace is a bold and solemn purpose. To proclaim it is easy. To serve it will be hard. And to attain it, we must be aware of the full meaning of peace and ready to pay its full price. That is the service of our men and women today. At this time, I would like for those in the student body who currently have someone serving in the armed services to please stand to be recognized. Thank you for your family's service. Please remain standing. Those of you that also have veterans that are not able to be here today, but your family has a veteran within it, please stand. Thank you for your family's service. It is all thank you. You may be seated. I would like to leave you with this thought. You are not in peril or danger at this time, but that does not mean that you may put your gratitude to others to sleep. Please be grateful for the service of the men and women of our country. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Mr. Farrell.
Good morning, veterans. Thank you for attending. Thank you for your service. Good morning, Riverview. Those that were just standing of the student body, you have a sacrifice as well. And your family members have given a sacrifice to us. Most of you have watched the video that was presented in advisement yesterday. And please do not forget these individuals sitting right over here, the individuals that stood up, they fight for you. They fought for you. So you could sit here in school, so you could have a cell phone, that eventually some of you can vote for president and live in this great country. Please do not forget, they fought for you. Thank you for that. At this time, I would like to introduce a special young lady who I believe is going to be a great influence in our community and the future, 8th grader Miss Hannah Summers.
When Francis Scott Key wrote The Star-Spangled Banner 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and the home of the brave. Those words are as true today as they were then. Throughout this nation's history, America's soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guards have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. Today, it is our privilege to say thank you to all of America's veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high. We cannot afford to forget those willing to pay it. Today, we celebrate America's veterans for keeping this nation the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I'd like to introduce Mr. Schneider.
Rubidoux students, staff, and guests, please stand. We will have a moment of silence for all of the American service members that have given their lives to defend our freedom and our beloved country. Shortly followed by a rendition of taps by our own Lauren Adams. Taps have been played at military funerals to honor the sacrifice of our country's fallen soldiers. Please bow your heads.
Okay, again, I want to say thank you for all the veterans that came here today. To honor you is our pleasure. We appreciate you guys coming here today. Students, I'm going to ask the 8th graders in a minute to have a seat. We're going to dismiss out this door. Every student needs to walk out this door at a certain point in time. I need your attention. If upon dismissal, you would like to go over here, if you have family members here, if you would like to thank the individuals that have come to the assembly today and to give your gratitude for them or to them, please do so. If not, again, you're going to exit this door right here. So